Welcome back, Space Commanders, for Match 5 of Day 2 of the prelims. I've just recharged the batteries on our EVE database super android known as Ryvy, and he's back. And I am, of course, Zastro, a simple mechanic in charge of keeping Ryvy running. For this match, we have a small low-sec alliance, Heretic Nation, going up against tournament veterans Romanion Legion, who were formerly known as Lagunia Romana. I think that's how you pronounce it. So we now turn to our Super Android Ryvy for an analysis of what I think is going to be a very short match. What do you know?
Yes, I completely agree with you. Heretic Nation has brought 3 Brutixes, 2 Hawks, and an Aneros. And Romanian Legion has brought 2 Macarials, a Celestis, and a Griffin. But they've brought the Macarials in at 0, and so have the Brutixes have also come in at 0, which means they're all right on top of each other, and we're about to see some Macarials die very quickly.
Yeah, the main weakness of the Brutix is they're slow and they're very range limited, but these Macarials did them a great service by warping in directly on top of them. So these Brutixes can pounce and put incredible DPS on the max right off the bat, plus the Macarials have no logistics support to rep them.
And on top of that, the Macarials have no ECCM, and they have a bunch of ECM drones from these Brutixes on them right away, so they're not going to be able to hit anything. Now, we're going to see them go down fairly quickly. They are armor tanked, so going through the shield isn't that big of a deal. But I think this is a very, very a match is strongly leaning towards Heretic Nation, who, by the way, aren't actually completely new to the tournament. These are the same people that were behind some of the Bane teams in the past that have made it quite far in the tournament.
When I first saw the Macarials coming in, I was thinking they were going to be artillery Macarials, and they would use that Celestis to try to kite around the arena, but no, they are autocannon Macarials warping in at 0. I think they just got really unlucky with their setup and warp in for this match.
Well, I don't think the warping can be considered unlucky, because you never really want to be warping in Macarials at 0, so there's no luck involved with that. That was just a bad choice on their part. Right now, we're seeing them just completely covered with Brutixes. They're webbed. They're each going 28 meters per second. Or no, sorry, they're going like 70 meters per second. These are not going anywhere fast, and they're just going to die. We are seeing a Brutix going down, though. It's going to die probably pretty quickly, but that first Macarial is also going to be going down pretty soon.
That Oneros is just unable to rep through the DPS of the Macarials. Macarials have a lot of DPS. So even though they're in a really bad position right off the bat, they can still do tons of damage.
Thankfully, these are autocannon Macarials. If they were artillery, they'd be in even worse shape because of the trouble they'd have tracking. But with autocannons, they can still hit at this range. But they also have the ability to hit out very far away. They can hit out to like 70, 80 kilometers with the fall off. So there's no reason for them to be in at 0 like this.
So we're seeing damage being spread out amongst the different Romanian Legion ships. I'm really unsure why they switched off that one Macarial once he got down to armor.
I think what's happening is the Hawks are going after the Celestis there. I'm not sure why they wouldn't be focusing them on the primary, but Brutixes still are shooting after that Macarial, which is trying to burn away. It's doing its best to get some distance, but it's into structure now, and with no logistics to rep it, there it goes. It just exploded.
Ooh, there it is. Heretic Nation's down 1 Brutix already. They have another in armor. The Oneros is repping it. But with their half of their Macarials gone, I don't think Romanian Legion's going to be able to turn this around.
Yeah, the fact that Heretic Nation has a logistics ship means that the advantage is theirs as the fight goes longer. So as DPS drops on both sides, that logistics ship is just going to be able to perma-tank everything on the Heretic Nation side. The only hope that Romanian Legion is going to have is to switch to the Aneros and take it down, but I don't think they're going to be able to do that while webbed and covered with jamming drones. Although actually, it looks like most of the jamming drones are belonging to those Macarials, and we've got damage drones coming in from the Heretic Nation team now. Sorry, that was a bit of confusion on my part. That, I don't think, is a great choice on Heretic Nation's side. The fact that the Brutixes can hold a full set of medium ECM drones is one of their greatest strengths, and that's something you really need to take advantage of to have a strong Brutix team.
Yep, and one of the Heretic Nation Hawks went after that Griffin and just soloed it up at the top of the arena. And now he's turning around to join the fray in the middle.
And we've got all the damage now focused again on that Macarial. It looks like the Macarial just can't break the tank that the Aneros can put onto that Brutix, so it's trying to do some damage to the Aneros, but it's not going to be able to do it. The Aneros has, however, come in very close. I don't really know why it's come in that close. It's going to have damps on it from the Celestis, but still it's in right up. It may think that it can just orbit the Macarial, which is quite possible, as long as the Macarial can't web it.
Pretty impressive armor buffer that these Macarials have. They're able to tank the DPS coming off those Brutixes for quite a while.
Mhm. Yeah, these Macarials are lasting quite a while, but with considering all the mid slots they have free from not having to worry about a shield tank, I'm very surprised that they didn't think to put ECCM on.
Yeah, I agree.
The-
Although they're in this match, I got lucky. They didn't have to worry about ECM too much.
No, in this match it wasn't that big of a deal, but
They just had to worry about 3 Brutixes sitting on top of them at 0.
yes, that's something that every team has to be somewhat concerned about when it happens. The ECM, facing ECM is one of those things I've said before that as long as you're prepared for it, it's not too bad. But if you don't prepare for it, then you're going to get destroyed by it when you face it. Every team can beat ECM if it's tweaked to do so, but a lot of people just don't bother to. In this case,
Well, it's a difficult gamble. If you bring a bunch of ECCM or setups that work well against ECM setups, and you come up against DPS setup, that's a lot of slots that you sacrifice to try to deal with ECM, and you wasted them essentially on a non-ECM setup.
It is, but the advantage that you get against an ECM team is usually enough to tip it, in my opinion. You can, as long as you put some thought into how you're going to face ECM, whether by doing it through single race teams or ECCM, or by having a large number of DPS ships that can take down ECM ships fast, say assault frigs. All of those are good methods for facing ECM. As long as you have at least one of them, you're in a pretty decent place.
And just that Celestis left. So we haven't seen too many, if any, Celestises earlier in the tournament. What do you think about bringing a Celestis to these fights?
I don't think it's a great value for the points. Considering how many damps you can get out of carries and molluses and hawks, hookbills, other small frigates with damps, you're really getting not very much value out of Celestis, considering that this team only had 4 ships. Bringing 4 ships in a 6-ship match is really unacceptable. It's not going to give you a strong position in any situation. And if that Celestis had, say, been a Hawk and 2 Molluses, they would have been in a much better place.
I agree. For the point value, if they split it up, grabbed a bunch of frigates, I would have felt better about Romanian Legion's setup. Romanian Legion's a good team. They've done well in the past. I just didn't get lucky with this one.
No, this wasn't a very good setup all around, but we'll see. It's likely, considering that they've only been able to get 10 points, that they're not going to go forward. They may be able to make a Hail Mary setup next weekend to do it, but we'll see. Now that last Celestis is down, he had been getting repped by the Aneros from Heretic Nation so that they could make sure to loot the field before the match ended, but now they've finished doing their looting, finished him off, and we're done with the match. So congratulations to Heretic Nation with a very strong match. I think we're going to see a lot more of these people further on in the tournament. They do have some strong tournament experience, and it's going to be good to see what they do going forward.